The bottleneck. The alarm buzzed at 4:30 a.m. Again. Darius groaned, slapped it off, and sat up in the dark, blinking at nothing. A second later, his phone lit up with a notification. Client email, urgent site not loading. Of course, he muttered. He dragged himself to the kitchen, made the world's fastest coffee, and shuffled back to his desk. His laptop blinked to life. Slack, email, Stripe, Calendly. It was a one-man circus. He took a sip, cold already. Cue the morning montage. He's replying to a support ticket with one hand, resizing Instagram Reels with the other. He's toggling between Canva and Google Ads, refreshing the Analytics tab like a heartbeat. Ding. A customer refund request. Ding. A payment confirmation. Ding. A message from his supplier asking if the invoice from 2 weeks ago has been paid. He mutters, "Has anything from 2 weeks ago been paid?" Then, a half-eaten breakfast sits next to a half-drafted newsletter. His Zoom app blinks with reminders for 2 client calls, and he still hasn't uploaded the week's product module. People kept saying, "Build a team, Darius. Hire fast. Delegate everything." I listened, I really did, but hiring felt like babysitting. Every time I onboarded someone, I had to slow down to speed up. I became a CEO, yeah, but also a full-time school principal. Darius on a glitchy Zoom call, trying to explain something simple to a virtual assistant. He's screen sharing, voice tight with politeness, but his eyes scream, "Why can't they just read my mind?" Cut to Slack threads filled with long-winded instructions, a sea of Google Docs titled SOP, V2, Final, Really Final, Docs. A virtual assistant messages, "Just checking what's the process for refund requests again?" He sighs, pulls up a Loom recorder, and starts over. Again, I had help. But somehow, I was still doing everything. Why? Because the real system was in my head. Not in a doc, not in a dashboard, and definitely not in a way someone else could run without texting me at midnight. Darius stares at his overloaded Asana board tasks stacked like Tetris blocks and his inbox, 137 unread emails deep. He rubs his temples. Delegation without documentation is just disaster wearing a name tag. The camera lingers on him, slowly lowering his head to the desk, a beat of silence. This isn't a business. It's a job I built for myself, with no time off, and no one to blame. It was a Thursday, the kind of Thursday that starts off wrong and only gets worse. Darius had stayed up past midnight the night before, tweaking the new landing page for his digital course. Now bleary-eyed, he dragged himself into his chair, coffee in hand lukewarm, again and refreshed his email. Subject, urgent. Contract termination pending. He stared at it. The timestamp? 7:42 a.m. It was now 1:17 p.m. His breath caught. He clicked the thread. The client had waited 6 hours for a reply. No confirmation, no update, no reassurance. Just silence. They wrote, "Darius, we've enjoyed working with you, but missed deliverables and delayed responses have become a pattern. If we don't hear back today, we'll move on." He gritted his teeth. Typed a rushed apology, hit send, but it felt too late. That's when the second hit landed. Ping. A Stripe alert. Checkout error. Transactions failing, gateway timeout. He clicked into his dashboard. The numbers weren't moving. He checked the logs, no sales, for 6 hours. His landing page was live. The email promo had gone out that morning to 12, 0 subscribers. But the buy button? Dead. Darius stared at the error logs, then at the clock. He had no idea when the system had gone down. No alert, no backup, no automation to route traffic somewhere else. It was just broken. Quietly, while he was doing everything else, he slumped forward in his chair, elbows on his knees, head in his hands. The office was silent except for the hum of his overworked laptop. His voice, raw and tired, slipped into narration. I had help. A few freelancers, a chatbot, templates, but I was still the bottleneck. Every decision, every click, every error, it all flowed through me, or worse died waiting on me. He glanced up at the whiteboard. 3 half-scribbled funnels, 2 product roadmaps, all color-coded chaos. On the wall beside it, a calendar. Every square full, no gaps, no breathing room. He reached for his notebook and opened to the latest page, a to-do list with 19 checkboxes. Only 3 were ticked, all of them from last week. His hand hovered above the page, then dropped the pen. He sat back, staring at the ceiling. Maybe I don't need more people. People ask questions. People wait on instructions. Maybe what I need is a machine, a structure, a system. His eyes drifted back to the screen. What if the sales flow was automatic? What if the onboarding didn't need a live call? What if the client had gotten what they needed without needing him? What if he wasn't required for everything? His brow furrowed. A spark flickered. Systems didn't get sick. Systems didn't sleep in. Systems didn't forget the most important email of the week. He whispered to himself, almost afraid to believe it. I don't need to work harder. I need to work different. The screen glowed back at him. Silent. Waiting. Darius opened a new tab. Google search, automate digital business workflows. Later that evening, while hunting for an HDMI cable in the back of a forgotten drawer, Darius found something else. A dusty black notebook with a broken spine and coffee stains on the cover. He flipped it open. On the first page, scrawled in all caps, Systems, People. It hit him like deja vu. He remembered now. A business seminar from a year ago. The speaker had said, don't hire until your system breaks. Build a system first, then plug people into it like Lego bricks. At the time, Darius had nodded enthusiastically. Then he came home and went right back to chaos. But now he was listening. Darius grabbed a whiteboard and started sketching out his entire business as a flowchart, boxes and arrows and loops. What happens when someone buys? Who gets the email? What gets created? Where does it go? For the first time, he wasn't asking, who can I delegate this to? He was asking, how can this run without me? He recorded himself replying to email screen share, voiceover, everything. Then again, onboarding a client. Again, building a product page from scratch. He saved each video, labeled it, filed it away. Then came the tools. He signed up for Notion, created a clean dashboard with checklists for daily operations. Set up Zapier mails now triggered automatic tasks. Organized data in Airtable clients. Content, deadlines, status updates, all visible at a glance. Used Loom to record every repeatable action, giving each step a face and a voice, even if it wasn't live. No more micromanaging, no more memory juggling. Each night, he chipped away at the bottlenecks. Each day, the system got a little smarter. He stopped assigning tasks and started designing flows. Darius sat at his desk one night, watching an automation send a welcome email to a new customer, update the Airtable, and notify his email all without him lifting a finger. He didn't smile, not yet, but his shoulders dropped. The weight was shifting. This was no longer a business waiting on Darius to breathe. It was starting to breathe on its own. 3 weeks later, Darius opened his laptop at 8. 0 a.m. without a racing pulse, without the usual avalanche of red notifications. No missed emails, no failed checkouts, no fires. The dashboard blinked quietly to life. Orders processed, customers onboarded, tasks checked off, payments confirmed. He sipped his coffee, barefoot on the hardwood floor, and took it all in. Not a single Zoom call on his calendar. No Slack pings, no awkward, forced team check-ins. He clicked through a few dashboards analytics, marketing campaigns, product updates. Everything was humming. Everything had a place. No chaos, just clarity. I became the conductor, he narrated quietly to himself, not the violinist. My tools didn't sleep, didn't forget, didn't need pep talks or praise. He wandered through the house slowly, mug in hand, pausing at the window to watch the morning unfold. Outside, joggers passed, birds chirped, and a neighbor's dog barked half-heartedly at the wind. Inside, peace. No team to chase, just systems to tweak. The same checkout process that used to crash in the middle of the night, now tested, automated, and fail-proofed. The onboarding process, reduced to a form, a video, and a zap. Customer support, a knowledge base, a chatbot, and one outsourced rep who followed his precise playbook created from his own recordings. Darius leaned against the kitchen counter, watching toast pop up from the toaster. He used to run his business like a firefighter. Now he ran it like an engineer. He checked his Stripe balance. Higher than the same time last month. Fewer hours, more revenue, fewer meetings, more clarity. He wasn't scaling chaos anymore. He was scaling order. He opened his notebook again, the one with the old seminar scribbles. Systems, people. He underlined it twice. This wasn't just productivity. This was power quiet, structured, sustainable power. He didn't need a dozen employees to feel like a real CEO. He just needed leverage, digital leverage. Systems that moved while he rested, that responded while he reflected. Darius smiled, not a grin, not a cheer, just a calm, earned smile. Victory didn't need to be loud. Sometimes, it looked like one man, one coffee, and a well-oiled machine ticking quietly in the background. Darius sat at the kitchen table, soft jazz playing from a speaker nearby. The house was quiet, calm. In front of him, the same old notebook. The one from that forgotten seminar. Its pages now full of scribbles, diagrams, workflows, and lessons earned, not just learned. He uncapped his pen and began writing. I thought I needed a team to grow. He paused, sipped his coffee. But a team without systems is just chaos on payroll. More words followed, slow, deliberate. What I needed was rhythm, automation, documentation. What I needed was freedom from my own brain. He flipped the page and wrote what had become his new gospel. Document before you delegate. Automate before you hire. Systems before staff. He leaned back, exhaled deeply, and smiled. Not because he had built an empire, but because, for the first time, it didn't all rest on his shoulders. He no longer feared forgetting a task, missing an email, dropping a ball. The machine was running. He had finally stepped out of the way without stepping out of the business. Darius glanced at the notebook one last time and wrote, I stopped trying to manage people. I started managing flow. A quiet beat passed. Then he closed the book. Moral: before you build a team, build a system. Freedom isn't found in more hands, it's found in smarter workflows. Follow for more real business stories that teach. Subscribe for practical insights that actually save your sanity.